Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me. This is Game God Fluent, bringing you episode 17, I think, of Let's Play Dragon Age Origins Ultimate Edition. Stay tuned. We're in 1080p with 8 times super sampling, sparse grid super sampling, which is even better than regular, I guess. I don't know, but it's good stuff. Hope you guys are enjoying the Let's Play. Hope you guys are doing well. We're in camp. I just had a pretty big meal, so pardon me if I burp a little. We were just talking to Bodon and his son Sandal, and we're going to get to Morgan in a minute. Let's
If there's anything I can do for you, please tell me.
We bought some stuff from Bodon.
I'm sure you'll be pleased with the goods my boy and I have collected, and with your discount.
Yeah, he's got some really good stuff, but we have 11 silvers left, so not much we can sell. Guess we can sell the leather gloves. And go ahead and sell the chantry robe, I guess. Now, if I sold the blood dragon plate, which has 6 defense and 30 health, but requires 38 strength, if I were to sell that, he does have blood dragon set pieces. And that 4 gold would go a lot further to get something like a +2 dexterity boots, 10% chance to dodge attacks, which is crazy. You know, we can get some interesting stuff. Like Parval and Willstone, +2 willpower. Like this, the spell ward's way too expensive, but fire damage, cold damage. Can't afford a tome. You know what? Let's check out these runes with Sandal.
Hello. The boy's a bit simple, but he's rather good with enchantments. One of those tranquil fellas actually called him a, what was it now? A savant. I had no idea such a thing existed.
What enchantments does he do?
He can fold lyrium into almost any weapon or piece of armor, though naturally some of the more extravagant materials will take more lyrium than others. It's a process that some of the master smiths back in Orzammar will perform, but my boy here is just as adept at it. Isn't that right, boy?
Enchantment!
And there you have it.
I want some enchanting done.
Enchantment!
Okay, so we can enchant the Oathkeeper, which Alistair is using, and the Darmisu. This has 1 rune. Chance to reduce movement speed, add 1 fire damage, add 2 electricity damage. Okay, pretty simple and straightforward. Runes and enchantments. All enchantable items in the party inventory, including those currently equipped, can be upgraded by an enchanter, so long as you also have runes available. Select the item you wish to enchant, then drag and drop the desired runes into the slot. Simple.
If there's anything I can do for you, please tell me.
Let's
I'm sure you'll be pleased with the goods my boy and I have collected.
Let's go ahead and sell.
With your discount.
Well, let's go ahead and see what runes he has. He has a Journeyman Dwemer rune, spell resistance, fire damage, Grandmaster Frost, 5 cold damage, electric damage, damage versus undead, which would be the physical resistance weapon rune. Yeah, the cold iron would be undead. The hail's physical resistance. The silverite is damage versus darkspawn, which is nice. Grandmaster slow. King Merrick shield. So I think I'll go ahead and sell the blood dragon plate. We can always buy it back. It's massive armor. I don't know. It was given in my inventory for a reason. So let's just use what we have. We're just gonna...
Enchantment? Enchantment!
Oathkeeper, we're gonna go ahead and put 2 electricity damage into. And Darmisu, we're going to put 1 fire damage into. Okay. Are we enchanted? We are. Plus 1 fire damage. So, if I give him that, he's actually doing 6.2 damage versus 4.4. Let's see the stats change if I equip the Darmisu. Let's look at the bottom left there. Attack goes down 4. Damage goes up 1. Huh, surprise damage only goes up 1. Oh, because... You're already doing 5.2. I guess it's not counting the fire damage, so that's actually 12.5. Fair enough. Oh, cool. It's enchanted. It's flaming. That's awesome. Let's go ahead and F5 and go talk to Morgan to wrap up the camp, pretty much. Hello, Morgan.
What do you wish of me?
I'd like to ask you something.
If you must.
How did you become a shape changer?
I was not born such. 'Tis a skill of Flemeth's, taught over many years in the wilds. The chastened have tales of we witches, saying that we assume the forms of creatures to watch them from hiding. When a child is alone and separate from his tribe, that is when we strike, dragging the young boy kicking and screaming to our lair to be devoured. A most amusing legend.
That doesn't sound like something you do. Your mother has been doing this for a long time then.
Changing her form, certainly. Devouring lost children, I cannot say. She has not done it in my experience, though in truth my lifespan is but a fraction of her own. Why do you ask? Is there something specific you wish to know?
I've never heard of magic like that before.
No? 'Tis not unheard of in the remote corners of the world. There are traditions of magic outside of the circle of magi, despite what those mages would have you believe. Some of these traditions are old, indeed, passed down as carefully guarded lore from one generation to the next.
Cool.
The zealots of the chantry would uproot all such practitioners if they could. But as luck have it, some still exist. My mother is such a one.
That's good. Such traditions need to be preserved.
I am surprised you think so. Still, 'tis a pleasant thing to hear.
Can you change into other human forms as well?
The form of an animal is different from my own. One may study the creature, learn to move as it does, think as it does. In time, this allows one to become as it is. I gain nothing by studying another human. I already am the same as they are. I learn nothing. So the answer is no, my human form is the only one I possess.
Can anyone become a shape changer?
Anyone with sufficient will, but the act of transformation is a magical one. 'Tis a spell and thus requires a mage's talents. If you had a notion to learn such a skill for yourself, sadly, you must remain disappointed.
Oh, you spent a lot of time as an animal?
There were nights when the wilds called to me, 'tis true. You look upon the world around you and you think you know it well. I have smelled it as a wolf, listened as a cat, prowled shadows that you never dreamed existed. But my life is as a human. I am under no illusions to the contrary.
Okay. And what do other animals think of you when you're changed?
They do not shy away from me. To their senses, I believe I seem like any other of their species. As to what they think, I truly cannot say. Just as I am still human, no matter my form, they are still animals. Thus they cannot speak, even were I to ask.
Right. That's all I wanted to ask.
Indeed. Have you an opinion on my abilities, then? Am I an unnatural abomination to be put to the torch?
Maybe tied to a flagpole and tickled. I think your abilities sound quite useful.
Oh, you're simply full of surprises, little man, aren't you? But enough of such talk. Let us proceed, lest the dust gather on us.
Morgan approves +6. All right, let's try giving some of these gifts to people. Small carved statuette of a robed woman. Golden sight. This battlefield is... Oh, it's a spirit. Let's give... Well, first of all, let's go near them. Who we're going to give. Does she have anything she'd like here? Tribal necklace of sun black bleached teeth and bones. Oh, Morgan would love that. So let's go ahead and give that to Morgan.
A fine gift. You have my thanks.
She's approval is neutral. High approval provides combat bonuses and possible romance options, while low approval may lead a party member to desert you. Silver bracelet inscribed with dwarven runes. Wait, no, I grabbed a chant of light on a bridge. Right, let's give that to Liliana. Oh, we can't?
No, that won't work.
Oh, the fat loot.
Oh. That's a wonderful thought. I don't know what to say.
+59, she loved it. One of your party members has begun to genuinely like you and respect your leadership. As you improve your relationships with party members, head back to camp to speak with them. They'll be much more willing to open up when they don't have to worry about death around every corner. And you'll need to talk to them more if you want to continue to improve your relationship. You can track each party member's approval ratings using the orange bar at the bottom of their character records. Okay, she loved it. Bronze symbol of Andraste. Sten, we can give the Kunari prayers for the dead.
I am impressed.
Oh, he loved it.
Thanks.
He loved it. You, Sten, can recite a traditional Kunari prayer. And what can Liliana do? Can she do something with that? With the fat loot, Liliana can play this loot. Interesting. Inspired minor cunning. Skill acquired moderate cunning. Minor strength. Oh my gosh. Moderate strength. Wow. Plot. Moderate strength. Inspired by your leadership, this party member has gained a moderate strength bonus to strength. Wow. Stan of all people. Liliana gains moderate cunning. Moderate bonus to cunning. Wow. Let's go talk to Liliana now after we gifted that to her.
Something I can help with?
What would someone like you be doing in Lothering's Chantry?
What is meant by someone like me?
You know, a beautiful, charming woman like yourself.
And there were no beautiful, charming women in the cloisters, you think? You would be wrong. There were many lovely young initiates in the Lothering cloister, all of them chaste and virtuous. It added to their mystique, because then they were forbidden, and forbidden fruit is the sweeter, no?
Those initiates can't have been more lovely than you.
Flatterer. I, however, did not take vows, and so perhaps I am not as enigmatic? The Chantry provides succor and safe harbor to all who seek it. I chose to stay and become affirmed.
Affirmed?
We affirm our belief in the Maker, in Andraste and the chant, but other than that, there are no vows taken.
What did you do? So your skills were learned before your time in the Chantry.
I was a traveling minstrel in Orlais. Tales and songs were my life. I performed, and they rewarded me with applause and coin. And my skill in battle? Well, you pick up different skills when you travel, yes? Yes, of course. Let's move on.
Okay, codex updated. She's turning into a lovely romance option. Let's go ahead and talk to Sten.
You are not quite as callow as I thought. That is unexpected.
Thanks, I guess.
You're welcome.
So will you tell me now why you were caged?
I caged myself. A weak mind is a deadly foe, as you are no doubt aware.
Exactly what happened?
I told you before that I was sent here. I was not sent alone. I came to your lands with 7 of the Beresad, my brothers, to seek answers about the Blight. We made our way across the Ferelden countryside without incident, seeing nothing of the threat we were sent to observe. Until the night we camped by Lake Calenhad. They came from everywhere. The earth beneath our feet, the air above us. Our own shadows harbored the Darkspawn. I saw the last of the creatures cut down, too late. I fell.
What happened to the other Kunari? Well, sounds like what happened to me at Ostagar.
I heard the stories of Ostagar. Your kith stood their ground when others fled. No one can do more than that. I don't know how long I lay on the battlefield among the dead, nor do I know how the farmers found me. I only know that when I woke I was no longer among my brothers, and my sword was gone from my hand.
What did you do?
I searched for it, and when that failed I asked my rescuers what had become of it.
Did the farmers know where it was?
They said they found me with nothing.
Did you believe them?
I did. I knew they didn't have the blade. They had no reason to lie to me. I panicked. Unthinking, I struck them down.
You panicked over a lost blade?
That sword was made for my hand alone. I have carried it from the day I was set into the Beresad. I was to die wielding it for my people. Even if I could cross Ferelden and Tevinter unarmed and alone to bring my report to the Arishok, I would be slain on sight by the Antam. They would know me as soulless, a deserter. No soldier would cast aside his blade while he drew breath.
Wow. Couldn't you search for it?
If I knew where to look, it would be in my hand now.
Where did you fight the Darkspawn?
Near Lake Calenhad.
Don't worry, we'll find it.
Perhaps those words are empty, but thank you all the same.
Sword of the Beresad. Sten approves even more. Wow. Okay, let's check for more gifts. Seems like we found the ultimate gifts in a few of these. Chant of Light. Morgan? That would be for Morgan? Why would Morgan want that? Let's quick save. And give it to Morgan.
And you
No.
give this to me, why?
Right. Why would I want to give that to her? But I can't give that to anybody else. Let's see what other gifts we have. Small carved statuette of a robed woman. Delicate gold in a thick rope. Bronze symbol of Andraste. Garbolg's Black Country Reserve. A watered down ale. Silver bracelet. If I give you the silver bracelet,
Why, thank you so much.
+2. Give Alistair a watered down ale.
Is that for me? Really? Wow. Wow.
Bronze symbol of Andraste. Let me go back to the merchant. Where was the merchant? The merchant disappeared. He was over here. Was it Bodon
You
with
and your
the...
friends are formidable folk, indeed. It's good to have you along on the road. I'm sure you'll be pleased with the goods my boy and I have collected.
Did
and
you have the
with
gifts?
your discount.
You did. Okay, so let's see here. Let's grab the uncrushable pigeon, the chastity belt, the cat lady's hobble stick, the butterfly sword, the scented soap, the Orlesian mask, the ugly boots, protective cone, complete genealogy of the kings of Ferelden, rare Antivin brandy, amulet of memories, pet rock, beard flask, Alistair doll, King Merrick's shield, a stick, and a Grey Warden ham puppet. Okay, sugar cake. We can get some other interesting gifts. Let's go give some stuff to Moogie, because clearly some of this stuff goes to Moogie. Let's give him the stick. Sturdy stick is well weighted for throwing. Oh, he's already at max approval. Amulet of Memories might be good for Morgan. No, she can't do it. A stick. Huh. Alistair doll, she'll like that. This little doll fashioned from rags and stuck with pins is eerily reminiscent of Alistair.
I am
Her favorite.
grateful. 'Tis thoughtful indeed.
New ability, minor dexterity, moderate dexterity, major dexterity, massive dexterity, minor magic, moderate magic. Dang, we're cheating
I
here.
await your command.
So life in the wilds must have been very lonely.
At times, perhaps. A world full of people and buildings and things was all very foreign to me. If I wished companionship, I ran with the wolves and flew with the birds. If I spoke, 'twas to the trees.
And did they speak back? Well, sounds wonderful.
For a time, but one can only remain a child for so long. I recall the first time I crept beyond the edge of the wilds. I did so in animal form, remaining in the shadows and watching these strange townsfolk from afar. I happened upon a noblewoman by her carriage, adorned in sparkling garments the likes of which I had never before seen. I was dazzled. This, to me, seemed what true wealth and beauty must be. I snuck up behind her and stole a hand mirror from the carriage. 'Twas encrusted in gold and crystalline gemstones, and I hugged it to my chest with delight as I sped back to the wilds.
What happened then?
Flemeth was furious with me. I was a child and had not yet come into my full power, and I had risked discovery for the sake of a pretty bauble. To teach me a lesson, Flemeth took the mirror and smashed it upon the ground. I was heartbroken.
But you were just a child.
And a foolish one. Flemeth was right to break me of my fascination. Beauty and love are fleeting and have no meaning. Survival has meaning. Power has meaning. Without those lessons, I would not be here today, as difficult as they might have been.
They made you stronger, didn't they?
They did indeed. To return to your original question, perhaps my time in the wilds was indeed lonely, but such was how it had to be. I find myself at times wondering what might have become of the girl with the beautiful golden mirror, but such fantasies have no place amidst reality.
Morgan improves +9, not the greatest outcome there. Because I could have, broken her down a little bit more in terms of her you know, been a little more sentimental with her, but I wasn't sure if that would make her angry.
What do you need?
I have to find Alistair's favorite item. Small carving of a robed woman, bronze symbol of Andraste. I think that might be it. Put in quick save.
Is that for me? Really? Wow. Wow.
How about a Grey Warden ham puppet? This tin helmeted puppet is painted with the blue and gray heraldry of the Grey Wardens.
I could get used
Yep.
to this, you know.
He loved it. Minor Constitution. Moderate Constitution. Talk to Alistair a bit.
Something on your mind?
Never mind. What about Moogie? Pet Moogie. Very easy to please. Alright, that is everybody kind of with their favorite gifts. I think we're pretty much done here in camp. I don't know. Is there more we can talk
The
about?
stars are out.
Go help Alistair make supper. There's still beauty to be found in this world.
It comforts me to know that the stars will remain untouched by the blight. That whatever happens down here, they will shine eternally. Their light undimmed. There is a story about that cluster of stars over there. Do you know it? Elindra and her soldier?
She has pretty blue eyes. Tell me the story.
A long time ago, there lived a fair maiden called Elindra. She had many suitors, but spurned them all, for she did not love them. One day, Elindra was sitting by her window in her father's castle, singing and dreaming, when her lovely voice caught the attention of a young soldier. Entranced by her song, the soldier drew near to Elindra's window. As their eyes met, he fell in love with her, and she with him. When Elindra told her father about the man she had chosen, he was furious, for Elindra was high-born, but her love nothing more than a common soldier. To keep them apart, he had Elindra imprisoned in the highest tower of his castle, and sent her soldier to the wars. Alas, not a month had passed before news of the soldier's death reached Elindra. Alone in her tower, Elindra wept for her love, and beseeched the gods to deliver her from this cruel world. So earnest was her plea, that the gods themselves were moved. They gathered Elindra into their arms and lifted her high into the heavens, where she became a star. The gods also raised up the soul of Elindra's soldier love, and there he dwells, across the horizon from her. The band of stars between them is a river of Elindra's tears, cried for her lost love. They say that when Elindra has cried enough, she will be able to cross the river to be reunited with her soldier.
I'll never look at... it's a beautiful story.
This story is one of my favorites. A tale of a love so great and so enduring that it defies death and moves the gods to action. Sometimes I ask myself, does such a love exist? Can it exist?
If we lose hope in love, then we are truly lost.
I never expected you to say that. It is a pleasant surprise.
Secretly a terrible romantic.
I have to say there is a certain severity to you. Finding a person behind that all is nice. Maybe you should let your softer side show more often. Sometimes following your heart, not your head, leads you to remarkable places.
Indeed. Right, how about you, Stan? Anything more?
You called.
Need to discuss something you mentioned.
Speak then.
It's enough for now.
Then I suggest we move on.
I have a question.
I am hardly surprised.
Did you find Ferelden very strange?
To put it lightly, no one has a place here. Your farmers wish to be merchants. The merchants dream of being nobles, and the nobles become warriors. No one is content to be who they are.
Huh. Is there anything you like about Ferelden?
There is interesting food here. You have a thing. It doesn't have a word in the Kunari tongue. Little baked things like bread, but sweet and crumbly.
Cookies?
Yes, we have no such things in our lands. This should be remedied.
Don't the Kunari ever want to change their lot in life?
What does that accomplish? The farmer who buys a shop is never a merchant. He is always a farmer turned merchant. He carries his old life with him as a turtle carries its shell.
That makes the turtle stronger.
Does it? It's also his weakness. If he stumbles and falls over, it pins him on his back. It is better to armor yourself with no more than what you need. One life, one duty.
You don't think happiness is important?
You can learn to find it in doing your duty, in serving your people. There is no need to search for it. Shall we move on?
You sound a bit homesick.
Perhaps. It's strange to be in a crowd and hear a language that is not your own, to see faces that are and aren't like yours. I miss the smells of Saheron, tea and incense and the sea. Ferelden smells of wet dogs.
Dogs don't smell that bad.
Skunks don't mind the smell of other skunks either. Shall we move on?
Oh my gosh. Let's go.
As you wish.
He approves, surprisingly. One more shot with Morgan, and then I guess we will move on to the next task at hand.
I await your command.
I'd like to discuss something personal.
We're in camp, so 'tis as good a time as any.
Why are you still here?
I am here because Flemeth commanded me to aid you. Why? Do you wish me to leave? I can do so if you prefer.
You want to leave? No, I don't want you to leave.
Then I assume our discussion ends here.
Okay. Morgan disapproves -10. Oh dear. That was a bad move to ask her, why are you still here? Ridiculous. What am I thinking? Let's see. We'd have to choose the map, the world map, and choose a place to go, I guess. Soldier's Peak, which is where that Dryden guy went. Denerim, Brazilian Outskirts, Lake Calenhad, Redcliffe, Frostback Mountains. I guess I can't go to Ban Loren's lands. And party camp. I guess we should go to Redcliffe Village. That would be my guess. Or perhaps Lake Calenhad or Soldier's Peak would be good too. Don't want to go to Denerim yet. Let's talk to Leliana one more time, see if she's got anything to say.
Looking for little old me?
I'd like to talk to you about something.
Yes? What's on your mind?
You were a traveling minstrel. Do you have tales to spare?
Of
Share?
course I do. I love stories far too much to keep them to myself. Everyone should be able to benefit from them, I think.
Do you know any Ferelden legends?
I know one, told to me by my mother a long time ago. It always chilled me to the bone. Maybe you have heard of Flemeth?
I met a Flemeth in the Korkari Wilds.
Are you sure? Was she the Flemeth of legend? Flemeth, the devourer of men. Flemeth, mother of witches. Flemeth, demon-touched, who dwells in the mists.
She looks like your average old woman.
Well, if Flemeth really exists, she would be very, very old indeed. Ferelden mothers scare their daughters with talk of Flemeth. They say that if you're bad, Flemeth will spirit you away and bind you to her forever. They also say that Flemeth mourns her lost beauty and will steal yours through your looking glass if she catches you.
Flemeth was once beautiful?
Flemeth's beauty was known throughout the land. She had hair like unto a moonless night, skin as pale as winter's first snow, and eyes as beautiful and perilous as the sea. When she came of age, she came to the attention of the Lord of Highever, Conobar, and he took her for his wife.
Right.
Conobar soon learned that his young bride had the gift of magic. He kept this a secret, for he feared that she would be taken from him. Flemeth stayed with Conobar for some years, and with his blessing she practiced her art. And then one day, a young poet named Osen came to the castle. Flemeth was captivated by Osen's voice, and he by her beauty, and they fell in love.
Ooh, the plot thickens.
Flemeth longed to be with her true love, and she and Osen fled from Conobar's lands, seeking refuge in the Kokari wilds with the Chasing tribes. They lived there happily for many a year, till the day Flemeth received news that Conobar was dying and longed to see her face one last time. Flemeth's heart swelled with pity for the man who once was her husband, and begged Osen to return to Conobar's side with her. But when Flemeth and Osen entered Highever, they were captured by Conobar's men, and Osen was slain in front of Flemeth's eyes. Flemeth was imprisoned in the highest tower of the castle, there to await Conobar's judgment on her. Distraught at the loss of her love, Flemeth plotted revenge against her husband. She summoned a fey demon, intending for it to wreak vengeance on Conobar. But a spell went awry. The demon possessed Flemeth. Turning her into an abomination, the halls of the castle ran red with blood as Flemeth slaughtered Conobar and all his men. The last of Flemeth's humanity melted away, and at dawn, she stole back to the wilds to plot and scheme for 100 years. They say she took to her side many Chasing men, and with their help, begat her daughter witches, who even now prowl the dark places of the Kokari wilds.
Tell me about Darkspawn.
Chantry lore says it is man's pride that created the Darkspawn. In ages past, the mages of the Tevinder Imperium ruled much of the world we know. In their pride, they thought their magics invincible and imagined that they were greater than the Maker himself. So thinking, they invaded his golden city, planning to take it for themselves and depose their own creator. But they were impure and full of sin. And it is with the sin that they tainted the golden city, corrupting it forever. The Maker cursed them and cast them from his sight. Wherever they went, they spread the taint of their sin. Any land that was touched by the taint became blighted and would suffer no life. Instead, the Darkspawn arose to torment us and remind us of our hubris.
Right. Know any stories from Orlais?
Of course, Orlesians enjoy telling stories. I shall tell you my favorite tale of Aveline, the Knight of Orlais.
That sounds interesting.
A long time ago, a girl child was born to a farmer. He had hoped for a son, not a daughter, and so he told his wife to abandon the child in the woods. Before the cold could claim her, the baby was found by a tribe of Dalish elves who took pity on the poor mewling thing and raised her as their own. Aveline, for that is what they called her, grew strong and quick and clever under the guidance of the elves. She learned to wield the sword as well as any man, could kill a deer with an arrow at 100 paces, and was as graceful on the back of a horse as she was on foot.
Continue, please.
Avelin's Dalish guardians saw that she could easily best any Orlesian chevalier in battle, and wanted to show the cruel humans the child they had left to die. They bestowed upon her a fine horse and armor, and sent her to prove herself to her people in the grand tourney. Now in those days, no woman was allowed to take up arms, let alone compete in the grand tourney, but Aveline kept her helmet on and was not discovered.
Did she win the tourney?
Aveline won many events and gained the approval of the adoring crowd. Eventually, she came face to face with the knight Kaleva in the grand melee. Aveline had already bested him in the joust, and Kaleva was determined not to lose a second time. Out of desperation to regain his honor, Kaleva tripped Aveline and tossed her to the ground, ripping off her helmet as he did so. Silence fell upon the arena as Aveline was revealed. Kaleva declared the previous competitions invalid. A woman had taken part, and this was not allowed. But the crowd cheered for Aveline. Kaleva was furious, for he had lost to a woman and was now being shamed. Blinded by his rage, he forced Aveline to her knees. "Know your place, woman," cried he, and slit her throat.
Wow. That's terrible.
The son of the king, Prince Freyan, was present. He recognized Aveline's skill and bravery and began to see the injustice done to the women in his land. When he was made king, he rewrote the laws of Orlais so that women could also become chevalier. He honored Aveline and knighted her after her death. And to this day, any female who is knighted reveres Aveline the Brave, for she is the patron of all women chevalier.
There's another story I wanted to hear.
Which one?
We'll go ahead and finish up the episode with these two. Do you know anything about the Dalish?
I have heard a little about how the elves gained their freedom from the Tevinter Imperium. When Andraste began her exalted march against the Imperium, the elves joined her cause to fight their masters. The great elven leader, Shatan, born in captivity, rose up to lead his people. He foresaw a future where the elves were free. Shatan was killed when Andraste was betrayed, but the elves continued to fight, eventually breaking free of the Imperium. The elves claimed the Dales in the south and settled there in the land of their own.
It didn't last.
The elves lived in the Dales for centuries. They resurrected the worship of the elven gods and would allow the building of no chantry. This angered the chantry, and the hostility between the two factions finally broke out in open war. The chantry says the elves struck first, but I do not know whether to believe it. The chantry declared a wholly exalted march against the elves, named for Andraste's similar march against Tevinter. During the exalted march of the Dales, the elven cities were sacked, and the elven state completely dissolved. Some of the elves bitterly accepted their fates and surrendered to human rule, living in the human cities as second-class citizens. But others, still fiercely proud of their heritage, refused to bow to the humans, and instead became homeless wanderers. They were the elves of the Dales, the Dalish.
What do you know about Andraste?
Andraste was the Maker's chosen. The Maker had long since abandoned the world when the sound of her singing turned his ear. Beauty, grace, and wisdom enraptured him, and he offered to take her from this flawed world to become his divine bride. But Andraste had an earthly husband and would not forsake him. Instead, she beseeched the Maker to return to his people once more. So earnest was her plea that the Maker was moved, and promised that he would create a paradise on earth if all abandoned their false gods and turned once more to him. And this is why Andraste began her exalted march on the idolaters of the Tevinter Imperium. The Maker granted her his powers with which to smite her enemies. Andraste brought the Imperium to its knees, and her victories converted many to the worship of the Maker.
How did Andraste die?
Alas,
I
it
know,
was the
but
frailties of men that betrayed and killed Andraste. Her earthly husband, Maferath, a chieftain of the Alamari tribes himself, grew jealous as his wife's popularity and influence overshadowed his own. She was also revered as the Maker's betrothed, and Maferath began to see their own bond waning in significance as Andraste became ever more devoted to the Maker. Out of envy and spite, Maferath made a pact with the Archon Hessarian of Tevinter, allowing his beloved Andraste to be ambushed and captured. Andraste was burned at the stake in Minrathous, the capital of Tevinter.
Right. Why did the Maker not save her with his power?
I have thought on this too. Did he withdraw his sight from her at that moment? Where were all the powers he bestowed upon her? This question has come to me many times, and I have no answer. Perhaps there was no way for Andraste to return to the Maker but through her death. We will never know for sure.
Let's move on. Inspired Major Cunning. Okay, so we've probably been playing for a while. 46 minutes. Okay, so that ends the camp section for episode 17. Next time, I'm going to think about where we're headed and we'll figure it out. I'm kind of thinking Redcliffe. But let's go ahead and check our journal quick before we go. Companions, the Sword of the Barasad. Premium content, the Soldier's Peak. The Blight, there's the Arl of Redcliffe. There's gain Orzammar's aid in battling the Blight. Gain the cooperation of the Dalish clans and the Mate Circle of Magi. Then, like I said, there's also finding Sten's sword. There's also heading to Redcliffe and then Denerim. And then Lake Calenhad, Denerim, and Frostback Mountains for the Blackstone Irregulars. And then we have to deliver something to Redcliffe for Rigby's Last Wish. So there's a lot to do. I'm thinking we're going to head to Redcliffe. Hopefully I'll see you guys in the next episode. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed and are enjoying the Let's Play. I'm having a blast. I'll see you guys next time. Much love, peace, and joy. Take care of yourselves and one another. And yeah, more fun to be had. So long.